All right, today we are jumping headfirst into the absolutely wild, surreal fantasy series, No Future. We're going to break down how it uses humor for way more than just a cheap laugh. We're talking about comedy as a core part of its storytelling, its philosophy, and yeah, even as a kind of bizarre spiritual boot camp. So let's get into it.
So, first up, meet our main players. On one side, you've got Dr. John Dee and Edward Kelly, two very serious, very stuffy Elizabethan magicians. And then, on the other side, you have Madimi. She's the punk angel they managed to summon, and as you can probably tell, this whole dynamic is what sparks all the chaos in the story.
So the story kicks off in this candlelit study, the whole scene, thick with incense, Latin chanting, the works. Dee and Kelly, they are fully expecting to summon some kind of divine guide, a teacher who's going to spill all the universe's secrets. They're ready for profound revelations. But what they get is something else entirely.
And the main engine driving all the humor in this story is this idea right here, anachronism. The whole narrative just loves to smash different time periods, attitudes, and objects together. It creates this constant sense of absurdity and conflict. And believe me, it is not just a gimmick. It is the absolute core of the comedy.
And this quote just perfectly captures that clash. The smoke from the ritual clears, and instead of some robed angelic being, Madimi just appears. She's in a 1970s school uniform, spiky purple hair, combat boots, and she's snapping bubble gum. The magicians are just horrified. And with that one line, the whole serious tone of their sacred occult quest is completely and utterly shattered.
Now this really lays out the fundamental conflict for us, right? You got the scholars, Dee and Kelly, they represent order, tradition, and frankly, a whole lot of ego. They want the universe to fit neatly into their little boxes. And then you have Madimi. She is pure, unfiltered, modern chaos. Their entire journey is basically a battle between these two completely opposite ways of seeing the world.
Okay, so let's see how this builds, because the humor isn't just about witty banter. Oh no, it gets physical. The story uses what you could call cosmic slapstick, these totally absurd and often really humiliating situations to literally knock our magicians right off their high horses.
And you can just feel the frustration in this line from Edward Kelly. I mean, he thought he was signing up for some serious alchemy, turning lead into gold, that kind of thing. Instead, he feels like he's been trapped in this series of bizarre, humiliating lessons by Madimi, and he is not having a good time.
So how does Madimi deal with this complaint? Not with some deep philosophical argument. Nope, she gives them an experience. With the snap of her fingers, their dusty old study is gone, and suddenly they're in the middle of a loud, chaotic circus. They're the main event, she tells them. And while the super-learned Dr. Dee gets the glamorous job of shoveling elephant dung, Kelly, well, he gets the starring role he never, ever asked for.
And there it is, the punchline. With a flash and a honk, our pompous alchemist who just wants respect and power is suddenly a literal clown. We're talking the red nose, the giant shoes, a unicycle, the whole deal. He's screaming, the circus audience is laughing, and his dignity is just left in pieces on the floor.
And this isn't just a one-time thing either. The story does this again and again, using this kind of physical comedy to just tear down their egos. In another scene, they're in this nightmarish schoolhouse, and a monstrous teacher literally beats them with a cane until they're forced to scream that they're nothing and worthless. It's all about dismantling who they think they are.
But it's not all slapstick and custard pies. No Future also has this incredibly sharp, self-aware wit. The dialogue is just packed with banter, clever insults, and jokes that start to play with the very idea of the story itself.
Madimi, of course, is behind most of this. She's constantly just torpedoing the seriousness of their quest with her modern attitude. She nicknames the dignified Dr. Dee Professor Beard. She turns a sacred magical chant into Rama Lama Ding Dong. And while these poor magicians are tumbling helplessly through a time vortex, she's just casually cruising by on a skateboard.
Okay, and this is where things get really wild. The humor becomes so self-aware it actually breaks the fourth wall. At one point, Kelly is worried about what the story's author might do to them, and Madimi just drops this incredible line claiming that she's the one writing the author. It's a joke that totally flips the script on their reality and who's really in charge.
So, that brings us to a pretty important question, doesn't it? If this whole journey is just filled with jokes and slapstick and these meta mind games, what's the point? Is it really all just for a laugh?
And the answer, and this is the core of the whole thing, is that the comedy is the point. The story is arguing that all this humor,
All this absurdity, it isn't a distraction from their spiritual journey, it is the journey. It's a very deliberate process, an initiation, where laughter is the main tool for transformation.
And hey, you don't just have to take my word for it. The story says this flat out, right from Madimi's mouth. After she puts them through that whole circus ordeal, she tells them it wasn't for nothing. The custard pies, the embarrassment, all of it was designed to get them ready for what was coming next. So how does this whole comedic initiation actually work? Well, you can kind of break it down into 4 steps. Step 1, you shatter their expectations using anachronism. A punk angel shows up in a 16th century study. Step 2, you dismantle their ego with slapstick, turn the proud alchemist into a clown. Step 3, you force them to open up to chaos, to embrace the unpredictable. And the final step, you reveal that real truth isn't found in their old books or rigid rules, but in all that madness.
And this is the result of that whole process. By the end of their journey, the magicians have been completely stripped down. Their fancy robes are gone, their titles are gone, their dignity is long gone. They've been remade, reduced to this almost primal state, totally ready for a new way of existing. They've been through the cosmic joke, and somehow they've come out on the other side, completely transformed.
So what's the big takeaway from all this? In the world of no future, the path to real wisdom isn't quiet meditation or poring over serious books. It's loud, it's messy, and it's really, really funny. Maybe the ultimate punchline of the whole story is that if you really want to find yourself, you first have to be willing to become the butt of the joke.